A very warm welcome to you, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Politics Tonight. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. President Tinubu to meet Labour leaders tomorrow. Minimum wage likely to top discussion. And our focus tonight is on the Rivers crisis and legal logjam. My guest tonight is Dr. Samuel Unwanosike, embattled chairman, Ikwere Local Government Area, Rivers State. Welcome to the program, everyone. Stay with us. I'll be right back. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now let's begin with some developments in the polity. Barring any last-minute change, President Bola Tinubu will be meeting with organized labor tomorrow. The president is likely to have further discussions on a new minimum wage for workers in Nigeria. TVC News gathered that President Tinubu invited the labor leaders to the meeting, which is on his schedule of activities for tomorrow. You would recall that on the 25th of June, President Tinubu stepped down further deliberations on the Tripartite Committee report to allow for wider consultations. The Tripartite Committee concluded on 62,000 naira, but organized labor insisted it would not go below its 250,000 naira. On June 25, the Federal Executive Council, chaired by the President, stepped down from consideration and deliberation on the memo on the new minimum wage to allow for more engagement with stakeholders. Away from that, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Olukayode Ariwoola, has warned against misleading and conflicting judgments. The CJN says frivolous interlocutory orders from Court of Coordinate Jurisdiction is an embarrassment. Justice Ariwoola was speaking at the swearing-in of 22 justices to the Court of Appeal and 12 judges to the FCT High Court. Celestina Iria reports.
Among the 22 justices sworn in to the Court of Appeal bench is Justice Olukayode Adeniyi, who on January 8, 2024, at the FCT High Court Maitama, voided the detention of former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, and ordered his release. He also imposed a fine of 100 million naira on the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for detaining Mr. Emefiele beyond the period allowed by law. Also sworn into the appellate court is the wife of the Minister of the FCT, Eberichi Nyesom Wike, and Oyewumi Oyebola, who in one of her judgments at the National Industrial Court reaffirmed Innocent Bola Audu as the president of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria. The CJN, after swearing in the justices, urged them to be upright in their justice delivery to Nigerians without fear or favor.
In the next couple of months, we shall be having 2 governorship elections in Edo and Ondo states. As usual, the courts will be besieged with plethora of petitions. It is our statutory duty to hear all matters that come before us and adjudicate according to the laws of the land. We must not falter, and we must not tread the path of infamy.
Shortly after, the court rose and reconvened for the swearing-in of 12 judges to the FCT High Court. Among these judges are Victoria Oluwakemi Ariola, Munirat Ibrahim Tanku, and 10 others. The CJN also urged them to be upright in their conduct and not to be swayed by external influence. Governor of Anambra State, Charles Soludo, believes the judiciary has done well and remains the last hope of the common man.
The judiciary in Nigeria, in my view, everything put together, I believe has done well. We have to realize that they are also human beings and they are Nigerians operating within the Nigerian environment. As it were, with all the challenges of our environment. Everything put together. I mean, for everyone else, for every sector, I think the judiciary works the hardest.
Punitive measures should be taken against erring judges found to be placing personal interests above the interests of justice. Celestina Iria, TVC News, Abuja.
The House of Representatives has suspended plenary and other legislative activities to mourn the death of Oyo State member Olaide Akinremi. Mr. Akinremi died in Abuja at the early hours of today after a brief illness. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa reports.
In the early hours of Wednesday, 51-year-old two-term member of the House, Olaide Akinremi, died after a brief illness. A statement from the chairman, House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Akinrotimi Jr., confirmed the death of the legislator. At a brief sitting, the Speaker announced the suspension of plenary as the lawmakers mourn.
We shall announce the passing of the esteemed Honorable Prince Olaide Adewale Akinremi, affectionately known as Jagaban, a dedicated member of this House. He represented the Ibadan North Federal Constituency with unwavering commitment and distinction.
Spokesman of the House says Olaide Akinremi will be sorely missed.
He will be fondly remembered as a very astute statesman, but more so a grassroots politician that was very well connected to his people. He was fondly called Jagaban, and he was very loved by many people within the House. As a ranking member, he had a lot of institutional memory and he had a lot of wisdom.
The Speaker, Abbas Tajuddin, later led a delegation of the House to the home state of the late lawmaker Oyo for the burial in line with Islamic injunction. Joke Adsa, TVC News, Abuja.
May his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. Now let's take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to discuss the Rivers crisis and legal logjam. Tonight I'll be speaking with Dr. Samuel Nwanosike, Embattled Chairman, Ikwere Local Government Area, Rivers State. I'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Every day, the raging political crisis in Rivers State continues to get interesting with different twists and narratives. The judgments of the appeal court in Abuja gave some degree of reprieve to Martin Zamewule and 26 other lawmakers. The Rivers State House of Assembly, led by Martin Zamewule, has given the state governor, Siminalayi Fubara, a 7-day deadline to resubmit the 2024 budget. This order was issued during the first session of the Pro-Wike House on Monday, after several months. Meanwhile, a parallel session was held by another faction of the House, led by Victor Okojombo. In another development, a Rivers State High Court in Port Harcourt on Monday issued an ex parte order barring the Chief Judge of the State and the Clerk of the State House of Assembly from dealing with Martin Zamewule and 26 other lawmakers loyal to former Governor Nyesom Wike. Justice Jumbo Stephen ordered the CJ, the clerk, and other defendants in the suit should not act on any resolutions, articles of impeachment, or others from Zamewule and 26 other pro-Wike lawmakers. Tonight, Dr. Samuel Nwanosike, the embattled chairman of Ikwere Local Government Area, Rivers State, is joining me on the program as we discuss Rivers crisis and the legal logjam. Dr. Nwanosike, good evening to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us. So, there is so much confusion in Rivers State at the moment, and I can only imagine how confused and traumatized Rivers people are with this political rage going on in the state. Because on one hand, the Court of Appeal led by Justice Bada nullified the expulsion of Martin Zamewule and 26 other lawmakers because Rivers State High Court lacked jurisdiction. There is another case at the Federal High Court with Justice Okorowo extending the interim order stopping INEC and the PDP from taking any action against Martin Zamewule and the 26 Rivers House of Assembly members. That case has not been decided. And now, Rivers State High Court has given an order restraining the Chief Judge from recognizing Zamewule and 26 other lawmakers. Talk to us tonight. What exactly is happening?
Okay, first of all, we want the entire public to know the truth. So I would plead that we follow this matter from where it began from, and so that we all, including those watching or listening to us, we know who is deceiving who. And I would want to say clearly, like the warning the CJ gave today, that I think the National Judicial Council at this point should start setting up, taking steps to make sure they help sort this problem that is happening not only in Rivers State, even in Kano State and other states, where people who believe they have control of state judiciaries will be using state judiciary officers to create crisis in democratic system. Now, on the 29th of October, crisis broke out in the Rivers State Assembly, which is not unusual. It is normal that so many assemblies will have issues. What was the issue? The then leader of the House of Assembly, Right Honorable Edison Ehie, was impeached as the leader of the 10th House of Assembly also suspended on that same sitting, alongside him and 3 other of his colleagues, Honorable Loko Jumbo from Bonnet, Honorable Sokari Goodhead from Ahoda West, and the man representing the governor, the governor's assembly member from Opopo Nkoro. They were all suspended indefinitely. So from that moment, they had issues they needed to sort out in court over their suspension. That they have not done. All of a sudden, all we could see was that the governor, with his immunity and whatever that they were doing in Government House, raised an issue to say, oh, Edison is now a parallel speaker. Now the question is that in a democracy, there are rules. Even if you have immunity, you cannot write the laws of Nigeria because you're the governor of the state. It won't happen. The laws of Nigeria says clearly, for a speaker to emerge in a house, that speaker needs to be nominated and voted for. And the Supreme Court has ruled in several cases that for you to carry out any legislative business and it becomes in conformity with our laws, you have to have 1/3 of the quorum of those members. Rivers State has 32 seats. 1 person died, which has not been replaced. 31 of them were the ones who had that crisis on the 29th. Martin Samehule and 27 others are on one side, and 4 persons are on one side. The question we want Nigerians to ask those who are carrying stories that Edison was speaker, at what point was he nominated and elected the Speaker of the Rivers House of Assembly? That is for 29th of October, a different date. Now, moving forward, they now talked about the issue of December. Oh, that assembly members say they have defected. Based on that, Edison Ehie, who is the then speaker, after the governor has gone to submit budget of Rivers State government to Edison Ehie-led assembly in Government House, his own assembly, that assembly has passed the budget overnight and he has signed it into law, which is very laughable. And Nigerians are watching. Now, we had a peace move. We all were invited by Mr. President, our father, to the villa. We went there, and Mr. President and the governor and the Minister of FCT, former President, Dr. Peter Dele, everybody were there. We had a fruitful discussion, and we agreed. And Mr. Governor agreed, and he signed, and every party signed, and we came back to Rivers State to implement the decision of the peace accord. One of the major items in the peace accord was 1, don't interfere with the activities of Martin Samehule and the 27 lawmakers. Represent the budget, the 2024 appropriation budget, which we took to 4 persons instead of 27 persons, for proper appropriation and passage, so that Rivers State can have a budget. Because as we speak, Justice Omotosho, in his judgment that was delivered on the 24th of January 2024, which has not been appealed by the governor and his team, stated clearly that by the actions of the governor, Rivers State government has no budget. And those items, and I will plead, if your studio can show Nigerians that judgment from Justice Omotosho and all the prayers that was granted. Now, moving forward, Edison Ehie withdrew when the man that gave him interim injunction came before NJC. The man said Edison Ehie lied to him, and he paid a fine of 5 million to him, and that he was misinformed. That's why he gave that injunction. Edison withdrew. Today he's chief of staff. Now the governor started dealing with Martin Samehule, set list of commissioners, started having correspondence. Bills were passed. The bills he will not accept. 30 days will be over. They will veto him. They will continue their relationship. He was inviting them for functions, and they were moving forward. All of a sudden, the governor woke up one morning and said he wants to have his own assembly. He goes ahead to pass what they call a decree, or there's something he passed, and he said that assembly should come and sit in Government House, and that Kojumbo has emerged speaker. Now, the funny part is that when Edison was there, Edison had 3 people with him. Now, Edison is no more a member of the assembly based on his resignation from the House. Okojombo now has 2 other persons with him. The question is 2 1/3 of the 31 members. So Okojombo does not exist in the eyes of the law. Let me finish, man. Now, these issues we have explained now has now been settled by the Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal said, read the ruling, let your studio show it to the world, that because the man who gave Okojombo the ex parte order, Justice Wele of the State High Court, lacked jurisdiction. Okojombo and his team does not exist. All actions taken by Okojombo is here null and void, including screening of caretaker committee, screening of commissioners, screening of attorney general, or any other action that Okojombo and his team has taken. Rather than go to appeal the judgment of the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, the governor have decided again to flout the laws of Nigeria out of desperation and worry of what he is speculating that will happen. He has gone to another court to go and seek another injunction by a judge he just swore in a few weeks ago. Probably Nigerians cannot see that he was in a hurry to swear in that judge because he wanted him to do a hatchet job. The judge has given him an interim injunction to stop the CJ and the clerk from having a relationship with the same people you claim that does not exist. The question is, everybody is screaming, oh, because they defected based on Section 109, that their seat has been declared vacant. But they forget that the same constitution, if you call down to that same 109, they say a presiding officer will trigger that action. Who was that presiding officer?
All right, so let me come in here, Dr. Wanosike. Let me come in here.
Who was the presiding officer that declared their seats vacant?
All right, so let me come in here because I allowed you to go on with that background story because this matter has been on for a long time. And like I said, everyone is confused. But while focusing on the Court of Appeal's judgment in favor of Martin Amaewhule, some lawyers have argued that the Court of Appeal only ruled on the matter of jurisdiction and not whether Martin Amaewhule and his group are still legitimate members of the Assembly. And so the Federal High Court should be the arbiter. But the Okojombo group have said they will appeal that judgment at the Supreme Court. How worried are you that this may go both ways?
No, I'm not worried. It's their right to appeal. They should appeal the matter to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court will hear the argument from both sides of the lawyers, and they will take a position. Like I always ask, if you say their seats are declared vacant, is it automatic? You cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand. There must be a court of competent jurisdiction that will do so. They should tell us on what suit, who is the person or which judge or which court has declared Martin Amaewhule and other seats vacant. You see, the truth of the matter is that Nigeria, we are running a constitutional democracy. It is not a sentimental democracy or it's not a military rule where the man in the helms of affair will decide. Like today, there was a statement credited to our governor, where our governor is saying that he is the one that wanted to help assembly members. It shows clearly that our democracy is being ridiculed. Where our governor believes that the budget spending time that he had for the 2023 budget that he inherited, which has elapsed on the 31st of June, that he can go ahead and continue spending Rivers State money without appropriation. And that he's saying that he's not going to obey the ultimatum given by Martin Amaewhule for him to represent the budget, even when Mr. President met with us. Mr. President advised the governor, said the right thing to do is to take the budget to the 27 members and play the game as a politician on how your budget, not even him, Mr. President, he takes his budget to the National Assembly and he goes through the rigors of making sure a budget is being passed, even when he is the president. And the governor is saying that he's only working on 2025 budget, that he was the one paying the school fees and feeding the assembly members so they cannot question in a democracy. So what we are saying is that it is their right to go to the Court of Appeal, to the Supreme Court, and let the Supreme Court speak on this matter. If of being the House of Assembly, as the ruling of the Court of Appeal stands today, Martin Amaewhule is the Speaker of the Rivers House of Assembly, and all actions taken by Okojombo from the date that Court of Appeal gave that ruling, they are all contempt of court. And we are asking that for people to respect this democracy that we're practicing in Nigeria, it should not be, it's not a matter of River State. It's not a River State matter. It is a matter of what is the right thing to do. That the agency, Nigeria Bar Association, should rise and say, we want the laws of this country respected, whether by the governor or by whoever is at the helm of affairs. That is the right thing to do.
All right. So at the moment, the House has written to the governor, and in that letter, the House gave the governor a 7-day ultimatum to come and resubmit the budget. But it looks like the governor is calling their bluff. 2 questions now. If within the next 7 days, the governor decides to say, you know what, I will represent this budget, is this capable, is this enough to douse the tension in the state?
Of course. If the governor takes the step of obeying the ruling of the Court of Appeal and brings the budget before the House will do justice to that budget, and there will be a formal passage of appropriation. Now, River State will now have a framework via which funds of the state will be expended in governing the state. He's our governor, and he cannot govern us without the rule of law. He cannot govern us without obeying court orders. He should be a typical example as a gentleman that he is, to say, oh, this is the court ruling. Okay, gentlemen, we will obey the court. We will follow all our steps and make sure we get this and that set aside and that set aside. Not going to get interim injunctions to create more crisis in the issue. If he presents the budget today, I can assure you, Martins and all the House of Assembly members will work day and night to make sure that that budget is passed for the good of Rivers people.
All right, so let's go back to the peace agreement signed in December. Why was it hard for that agreement to work?
We were surprised. You see, when we came back from the villa, we were so surprised to see the amount of statements being issued by those who didn't even attend the meeting. In fact, some even claimed that Mr. President put the governor on duress for the governor to sign, and several statements. They even went to court. He had to he took the governor to do a broadcast to tell them, no, Mr. President did not put me under duress. I signed this peace accord for peace sake, and I'm going to implement them. And all of us appreciated him, and we thanked him, because nobody would want to live in a situation of crisis. And so we watched the assembly members do theirs. Less than 24 hours, they wrote to him, withdrew the notice they gave as directed by Mr. President, and the governor resubmitted the names of the commissioners that resigned. And the next thing we were expecting was that the governor was going to bring the budget, and so that the relationship will now come in. But the governor refused to bring the budget. What we then heard was that, that they've gone to court, that is a political solution, that has no law that says that the governor should obey it. All of a sudden, the governor now turned and decided to call bluff the entire agreement, as he said before Mr. President. He agreed before Mr. President, because Mr. President was very specific. Because I was in that meeting as a local government chairman. The 23 local government chairmen were invited to that meeting. And Mr. President, in each item that was read out by Sir Dr. Peter Dele, the former governor, Mr. President will pause and say, His Excellency, do you understand what he has read? Are you going to implement it? Okay. He took it step by step. So there was no ambiguity in all the issue. So for me, those who kept this crisis going on, they know why they did so, because they want to line their pocket. We are seeing what's happening in our state. We are seeing where people are coming from left, right, and center to come and rip off the states in the name of the fact that there is crisis in the state. This matter was long resolved by Mr. President until the governor decided to call the agreement he reached with us, the president of the Mr. President, a bluff.
So the governor has also rejected the label of being called an ungrateful person. He has dared his detractors to tell the world where he went wrong to deserve being called a traitor. And I remember that about 2 weeks ago, Mr. Tony Okocha, that's the APC caretaker chairman, was with me on the program. I mean, I remember him telling me about how the governor has betrayed the system, betrayed the structure. But there are those who have also said what the governor is doing presently in Rivers State is asserting his position as the governor of the state, as someone who is refusing to be controlled or pushed around. So the question is, why should anyone call that betrayer? Doctor?
We are politicians. As far as I'm concerned, I don't belong to the stock that we call names. For me, every political investment is like any investment anybody can go and put in business. We used to belong to the same political family. But today, the governor has decided to create his own political family with those who opposed him. Same set of people that worked out on us, that why will he be the one to be given the ticket? What capacity does he have? What political idea does he have to govern Rivers State? Are the same persons that he's working with today. So we don't have any problem with that. What we are just saying, yes, you are our governor, you have your term running. Govern us by the rule of law. Govern us based on the Constitution. If you govern us by the rule of law and the Constitution, we are okay. What are we going to do? We have elected you the governor. You've taken the oath of office. You're in office. So, but what we are saying is that there are rules, and every farmer has his rules in farming. The medical doctors have their rules in their medical practice. The lawyers have their rules in their legal practice. Even in governance, we have rules. There are rules. Let the governor govern us by the rule of law. The governor cannot spend Rivers State money without appropriation. That is the crux of the matter here. And the governor is not the one to say whether there will be an assembly or not. Because we are in a constitutional democracy that says there must be 3 arms of government and 3 tiers of government. You know, when people come and tell the governor, oh, as the governor, you're very powerful, they forget to tell him that the governor is as powerful as his House of Assembly if he has their backing. That is the truth.
But Doctor, why has it also been hard for prominent sons and daughters of Rivers State to resolve this crisis? Because, you know, at a point, former Governor Peter Odili had also said politics is over. It's now time for governance. But surprisingly, that crisis really intensified. And this leaves a lot of Nigerians worried about why those words did not have any significance on this matter. I mean, after all, former Governor Peter Odili is a man many sons and daughters of Rivers State call the father of modern-day politics in Rivers State. So what's happening?
If the governor would disobey the 8-point agenda, Mr. President, and all of us agreed, who else will the governor listen to? You just look at it now. If the governor will come out to the public and say he will not implement the 8-point agenda he agreed with Mr. President, who else do you think the governor will listen to? So we've passed that stage. As it is today, we are asking the governor to govern us by the rule of law, obey legitimate court orders, govern us by the Constitution of Nigeria. That is where we are.
All right, now, so we'll come back to that. But let's talk about you and your fellow embattled chairman in Rivers State. Politically, what is the state of things in the Kwere local government area as we speak?
As we speak, the IG and his team are safeguarding the properties of all the 23 local government councils, because by the ruling of the Court of Appeal, the CTC that the governor brought through the back door has been quashed. And so, as far as we are concerned, we are waiting for a court of competent jurisdiction to give a proper ruling of which direction the third tier we head to. And don't forget, Justice Omotosho in his judgment told the governor, don't dissolve local government chairman, don't set up caretaker committee, conduct local government election as at when due. The question is, now that we are here, we are saying, let the Court of Competent Jurisdiction give a ruling who is the proper leader at the third tier level. Because as you know, based on the ruling of the Court of Appeal, because those CTC chairmen were screened by Okojombo-led assembly, they don't exist. So we have a situation where our governor, based on his actions of not respecting the rule of law, has created a vacuum at the third tier in Rivers State. And so we commend the IG for safeguarding our properties, and we are very hopeful that by the grace of God, something will happen that will make Rivers people know those who are the true leaders at the top tier.
All right, Dr. Wanasike, let's take a break, and when we come back, we will continue this conversation.
Information is power, information is security, information is knowledge. On Labor Lens, we believe that working people around the world have real questions of their own. They want to know how the world of work operates, what it means to the employer of labor, how policies affect workers in the workplace. On Labor Lens, I ensure we engage effectively the organized labor, organized private sector, and government to get out of them information workers are in need of. I am Sharon Ijason, asking questions that make you get sense of the workplace.
Voted as the best TV station of the year. TVC News breaks into the core of every event as they happen. Following all nationwide big and impactful stories. We tell the news from every perspective, covering every human angle. I am Veronica, bringing you the news you would want to watch.
Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us. Tonight, I've been speaking with Dr. Samuel Wanasike, is the Embattled Chairman, Ikwere Local Government Area, Rivers State. And tonight, we're discussing Rivers crisis and the legal lockdown. Dr. Wanasike, thank you so much for staying with us on the program. So before we went on that break, I was asking about the state of things in Ikwere Local Government Area. So is it safe to say that as we speak, you're no longer the chairman of that local government? Is that it?
No, it's not correct. I'm still the executive chairman of Ikwere local government because by the ruling of the Court of Appeal, Martin Samewule is the Speaker of the Rivers House of Assembly, and all laws made by him must be obeyed, and they are for the good of the people of Rivers State. Now, Martin Samewule and his team saw this coming. They knew that the governor was not ready to conduct election before the expiration of our tenure, which was in 17th of June 2024. They knew because he didn't bring that appropriation, it would have been difficult for election to be conducted. And the governor was just playing game. Now, that was why they said, because we foresee that there will be no election, we have to create an avenue. Don't forget, before 1999, the tenure of local government chairmen were 4 years, until the House of Assemblies of various states started amending the tenures based on what the political leaders of their various states wanted. Some states have 2 years, some states have 3 years. My state happens to be the state that falls in 3 years. So the same assembly, based on the local government law as being passed by the Universal House of Assembly, made an amendment to our laws and said, gentlemen, we will need you to stay in office for another 6 months after the expiration of your tenure so that we can give the governor an ample opportunity to present a budget before us and so that he can conduct a credible election, so that he can hand over to an elected government. Because Supreme Court has said clearly in several cases, CTC is not known to our law and cannot stand.
But Dr. Wanasike, lawyers have argued that extending the tenure of local government chairman is unconstitutional, and I want to believe you know that as well. So isn't this everyone benefiting from their own wrongs?
No. It's not. See, I have just explained to you that going legally by the laws of Nigeria, every tier of government, executive government, should have 4-year term. But the same House of Assembly that reduced ours to 3 years is saying to you that because of this foreseen crisis that is happening now, we would want people to do us a favor. Me and my colleagues, as far as we are concerned, we have served our state very well. So we have no need to say we will do otherwise. What we are saying that, based on the laws passed by the Universal House of Assembly, which is our original supervisor, in fact, what people don't understand that in the running of the third tier, it is the laws passed in the assembly that the local government councils operate with. How we manage our funds, how we carry out our activities, all our laws that pass must go to the assembly to be, all our bylaws passed must go to the assembly for it to be gazetted, for it to become actionable. So our regional supervisors are the hands of assembly. The only relationship we have with the state governor or state governor is the JAC, the Joint Revenue Account. So when the assembly passed that law, they said, for 6 months, hold on, let's do an election. Because you are the only ones close to legitimate mandate. Because your mandate you are given by your people through the ballot. And that is why we are still the chairman of the local government. But if a court of competent jurisdiction today pronounced otherwise, we don't have a problem with that. Because we would have done our part. We swore an oath to obey the Constitution of Nigeria and to be on the side of the law. And the law today is as passed by Martin Samehule, House of Assembly. And that's where we are.
All right, because many Nigerians continue to wonder why you and other chairmen had served and finished your 3-year tenure, and it has become difficult for you to hand over and walk away completely. But also, your successor in the interim, Darlington Orji, who is now the caretaker chairman of Ikwere local government, has accused you of abandoning several projects 7 months before the expiration of your tenure, and that now he has no option than to allocate new funds for the completion of this project. And as a matter of fact, he mentioned the structure for the government-recognized traditional rulers in Ikwere. How do you react to this claim? And I'm asking because many say perhaps this is one of the reasons Governor Fubara has vowed to probe the administration of the outgoing local government chairman.
Well, when you talk about probe, we're not worried about the probe. Let's the probe begin so that Nigerians will hear the truth. Because when you want to talk about probe, Nigerians will not know what we have been going through as local government chairman in managing the JAC account. So we are waiting for that to start. When that starts, we are here. We will follow the steps one after another. Now, when you talk about my former chief of staff, Darlington Orji, I don't like going that route, but for the purpose of the question you asked me, let me say, it's on record. It's on record. All projects conceived by me and my team, based on the 5-point agenda we came to govern the Ikwere people since from 2018 to date. All. We completed all and commissioned all. In fact, the last project was commissioned 2 days to 17th of June. That was Ipo Town Hall, which was a parting gift we gave to Ipo people because we considered our projects execution word by word. We have 13 political wards, and each ward we had 2 projects. We made sure we concluded all those projects: town halls, hospitals, police stations, classroom block, and Corpus Lodge. We did all those. Now, he's talking about a project that we had partnership with traditional rulers. Fine. That project, we got to roofing stage. And that is the only project that we didn't have the time. Because why? Governor Fubara seized our allocation 3 months to the expiration of our tenure. He seized our allocation 3 months to the expiration of 17th of June. So if I have scheduled all the project and I've commissioned all, and it's left that one, that project needed just say 30-35 million, max 40 million to complete. Now the governor seized our allocation for no just cost, just to frustrate the administration so that he can have an opportunity of bringing a caretaker. The question is, you seized the allocation. He went behind and bypassed our signature, commanded his accountant general to write the banks that banks should not honor the 23 local government chairman's signature. They should pay council workers directly by his order, or that they will leave the state as banks. And banks had no choice. They are businessmen. They bypassed our signature, which is one of the issues why we went to court against the governor. And we're still in court with him. 3 months of our allocation. So if he deliberately seized that 3 months allocation so that we cannot commission that last project, what do you want us to say?
Doctor, Mr. Orji said you abandoned that project 7 months to the expiration of your tenure. But you're saying the governor seized your allocations just 3 months to the expiration of your tenure.
excuse me, ma. I know virtually all the project commissioning that we were doing in the Ikure local government, we had to bring in TVC to take us live as a third tier. It was expensive for us as a local government, but we wanted to show to the entire country that local government system can work. And if you check, go back to your studio records. The last project commission was the UK International Market in Omagwa. Check the date we commissioned that one. Check the copper slot. Check the one I told you about that we commissioned. Reporter, his name is Uchokoro. He's always in all our commissioning. So when we have settled on how the route we will take to achieve our growth, so are we not going to pay worker salaries when our allocation comes? We will. But the question is, why will we even seize our allocation? Has the president seized the allocation of Rivers State before? Even if the governor is from PDP and the president is from APC, and they are not in talking terms, does it warrant you go to seize allocation of a tier of government? And that's why we're attacking Mr. President. For through his Attorney General sending this case to the Supreme Court for interpretation. And we pray that our lords will hear, not just because of me, other local government chairmen who want to govern, who want to work for their people. Because if we want to truly build Nigeria, we have to start building Nigeria from the grassroots. Mr. President cannot do everything in the 774 local government. It's not possible. Insecurity, go back to, like for instance, in the Ikure local government, we have a program that even that Darlington Orji used to anchor. We call him Back to Farm as my chief of staff. He's aware how much impact that Back to Farm have done to the women of Ikure local government. What do? We made a system where criminals took over our farmlands in the name of kidnapping. We fought with the Nigerian police and Nigerian Army, the security architecture set up by the then governor Ezeboye Sowike, and cleaned our forests from all these criminals. The local government was taken back, and our people went back to farm. And they started living in fruitful life. All those that ran away came back to the community. So we're saying, our lords, please help the local government survive. Help them survive. It's not because of, okay, even if they give me these 6 months, it will still come to an end.
Talking about local government, Doctor.
Those coming...
Dr. Wanosike, talking about local government, River State's Independent Electoral Commission has set October 5 for local government election in the state. So are the embattled chairmen willing to participate in the forthcoming local government elections? Are you willing to test your popularity by recontesting?
I belong to the People's Democratic Party. As far as we are concerned, our leadership have not told us about any public notice or any invitation, any notice of such. How can you talk about conducting a local government election when there is no budget? Where are you going to get the funds to run the local government election from? You see, when people come to play to the gallery, you just know. When you see those who are playing to the gallery, who do not want to do the right thing, you will know. So we don't want to join that shenanigans they are doing. Do the right thing. You can't spend funds belonging to Rivers people without appropriation. Somebody needs to say the truth. I don't know why Nigerians are keeping quiet. Is it because it's Rivers State that everything should go wrong and that legal luminaries cannot come up and say it is right for a governor to take a budget to 4 persons, putting aside 27 persons, even when the Court of Appeal has ruled that the actions of these 3 persons, all actions are null and void? The governor is still standing and saying those are the 3 persons he will deal with. They are still screening commissioners for him to swear in. And we are clapping and we say we are doing democracy and the international community is watching us. And the ridicule is taking too far, man.
All right, so we saw videos of Ikure elders who have met with Governor Fubara to show their solidarity. We watched them say River State has only one governor, and as generous and calm as the governor is, he does not deserve any distractions, and that's why they are solidly behind him. Anyone would interpret this as Minister Wike losing the support of his own people. How bad can that be? And as the embattled LGA chairman, is this you losing your grip and your popularity?
That's not correct. You see, let me tell you today, ma. You know, there are those who I wouldn't want to glorify them by mentioning their name. You know, somebody comes and says he's the new political leader of Ikore extraction. He says he was a former senator. Now the question is, where were you all this while? Since, let's say, since 2007 to date. Since you came back from the Senate, where have you been? That you go and handpick people and say, under one ethnic umbrella, you're taking them to government house. You've told, if you call an elderly man in my village today and tell him that the governor wants to dash him a car, he will run to meet the governor and take the car because he wants to ride on a jeep before he dies. That's what happened, though. So as far as we are concerned, all the people you saw there are traditional rulers who, if they don't attend function, the governor, based on the laws of River State, will dethrone them. So they don't want to be dethroned. Don't worry. The true Ikwere people stand with the Minister of FCT. The governor self is aware. He knows. The governor is aware that the FCT has a structure that is unshakable. And we don't want to mount it. It's not a mountain. It's a matter of action. When the time comes, it's not about gathering people. Like today, they've gathered another set of people from another ethnic group, Eche. Tomorrow they will gather another one. That won't solve the problem. There's a problem. The problem, nobody is contesting that you're not governor. Let's get this clear. You are the governor of River State. We all made you governor.
Think,
the local government
Dr.
campaign managers. Hello, ma. We are his campaign managers.
You know the governor's wife is from Ikwere. Would you say the governor is playing an ethnic card?
No, the governor's wife is not from Ikwere, please. Point of correction. The governor's wife's mother is from Ikwere. It's not the governor's wife.
Okay, so would you say the governor...
Or the mom is from Ikwere.
Okay, so would you say the governor is playing an ethnic card, being that he's enjoying the support from the people of Ikwere?
No, he doesn't have the support of the people of Ikwere. I am here as the chairman of Ikwere local government. I've just painted the narratives. I don't want to call names because tomorrow they will say I disrespected elders. And I've told you, I've just given you an instance. You understand? That somebody gathered these people because he wants to be the one to rebuild the assembly that was destroyed by the governor. He has been given the contract. All the contracts in the state, it is MCC that is doing it. So he's a contractor and he's helping the governor deepen the crisis so that he will continue to get contract awards and things are working for him. But that's not our problem. We are not worried. For us, we say His Excellency the Governor of River State. Governors by the rule of law. What's difficult about that? We've not come to say you're not the governor. We've not said so. But we're saying govern River State by the rule of law. Obey legitimate court judgments. If you need to appeal judgment, appeal them. Don't come and create crisis by going to shop for injunctions to create crisis in the state. Because if the citizens you are governing decides to disobey court order, we will be in the state of anarchy. And if we be in the state of anarchy, we won't have anybody to govern. That is the truth. A leader should lead by example. The governor should be the one leading by example. When he said that Okojombo is going to appeal the ruling of the Court of Appeal at the Supreme Court, it was a welcome development. Everybody was happy. That means the governor has repented and we are moving forward. But all of a sudden, the governor has taken another turn. He has taken another turn. So for us, we don't want to know those he has gathered in government house. If the governor wants to see the entire market women in River State, a slip of finger, they will come. It is River State money. Because they will live with transport. You heard the governor. When the people came, the largesse that they got. But the question we're asking, hope these largesse are all appropriated. Because if they are not appropriated, then it is not democracy. And if it's not democracy, who are those that swore to an oath to uphold the Constitution of Nigeria? We need to see them talk now. Because whatever they don't say today, generation will hold it to our leaders. Today is River State. And because you believe, oh, it's River State, let it burn down. We are watching, and watching.
All right, so many are divided over whether or not the president should intervene one more time. Where do you stand on this? That's
ridiculous now. After all the names they called Mr. President, after all the embarrassment, after what did they know about Mr. President? This was all aired. It was aired in Chinese television. Elders came and said all manner of things about Mr. President. People even went to court, calling Mr. President all manner of name, even threatening Mr. President. And you say, Mr. President has a lot of busy things to do with his time. Mr. President swore an oath to protect the constitution of this country. He has done his best in good faith. The governor also swore an oath to uphold the constitution of Nigeria. He should also do those things he swore an oath to do. I think it has come to a point where our judicial leadership should stand up and call a spade a spade. You cannot be letting people. Look, a judge that was just sworn in a few weeks ago has had the tenacity and courage to go and give such an injunction, asking a chief judge of a state not to do his function, asking the clerk of the house not to work with an assembly. Does that happen in any democracy? Because you're scared, you're having some speculation in your mind of what will happen based on your actions that you're taking deliberately and the statements you're making.
All right. So if you say the president should not intervene,
our leaders to speak.
All right, Dr. Wanosike, if you say the president should not intervene, what are the options available for peace to reign?
I did not say so. I just said based on what has happened in the past.
All right. So what are the options for peace to reign? So what are the options for peace to reign in Rivers State?
It's for Mr. Governor to obey the laws of our land. He became governor via the laws of our land. He has to understand that he's a Democrat. He's not an autocratic leader. He's not a military dictator. He is not. All his actions must conform with our laws. Yes. That is the only way peace will come. If the governor goes today to Supreme Court, appeals the judgment, and a decision is made in whichever way in the Supreme Court, it's a way forward. It's a way forward. That's the truth. So it's not amount, this peace talk. We are saying that no matter the peace talk you want to do, what is the law saying? Obey the law first. Then let's know that we are practicing democracy. So that if it happens in another state, that should be a yardstick too. Because when people believe that they will come and do political settlement and they break the laws of our land, a time will come, people will make references to what is happening today. It happened in Edo State, where they allowed 7 members to run a house from beginning to the end. And that is where the governor is holding his hand on. Because everybody kept quiet. The then administration kept quiet. Today, he's saying if it happened in Edo, it will happen in Rivers State, and the heaven will not fall.
All right, then. From our end here, we hope the warring parties sheath their swords and allow peace to reign in Rivers State. Let me say a very big thank you to you tonight, Dr. Samuel Wanosike, Mbatoj, Chairman, Ekwere Local Government Area, Rivers State, as we discuss Rivers State's crisis and legal logjam. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity of having me.
And thank you for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at midnight. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG. You can use the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/.